G'day, welcome back to the channel. A little bit of an unusual video today. I just wanted to put this one out because I saw this article pop up in The Guardian and it's so fundamental to our policies in Australia, our climate policies, that I thought it was worth just putting a quick video out on it because quite frankly this is amazing if it's true. And I thought we'd take a look at The Guardian because they will be clutching their pearls and their heads will be exploding, and I just thought it'd be quite funny to look at The Guardian in meltdown. So finally, it's actually a point of difference between the Liberals, which are the kind of centre-right party in Australia, and Labour and the Greens, who are completely obsessed with climate and they think the world's going to end in 5 minutes if we don't, stop driving cars. So bravo, here we go. Let's take a look at this article. I chose to read the Guardian version because I thought we could have a bit of a laugh at their hysteria and panic at what they're doing. Peter Dutton accused of trying to rip up Australia's commitment to Paris Climate Agreement. Opposition leader reportedly told News Corp he would oppose the legislated 2030 emissions target, a 43% cut compared to 2005 levels at the next election. Bravo! Finally, pushing back some sense against this nonsense that we've had to suffer for the last 20 years. Peter Dutton has been accused of planning to break Australia's commitment to the landmark Paris Climate Agreement after he said he would reject the country's 2030 greenhouse gas reduction target. The opposition leader reportedly told the Weekend Australian, shock horror, that he would oppose the legislated 2030 emissions target, a 43% cut compared with 2005 levels at the next election, but remain committed to reaching net zero emissions by 2050. Why? Why remain committed to net zero by 2050? Okay, well, let's take it step at a time. Dutton also reportedly conceded that the coalition's commitment to introduce nuclear power in Australia would not lead to plants being built before 2040. Yes, and your point is, God's sake. And critics who have accused the opposition of planning to delay action to address the climate crisis. There's a crisis, folks. The Guardian told you. The opposition leader said he would do more to promote the use of gas, a fossil fuel. Oh my God. Yes. Hallelujah. Some frickin' common sense at last. The electricity grid in Australia cannot survive without gas. Full stop. End of story. Solar and wind do not cut it. We need gas. It's as simple as that. And Peter Dutton is the only person who's prepared to say that out loud. Bravo. He was quoted as saying that there was no sense in signing up to targets you don't have any prospect of achieving. Absolutely right. The News Corp story did not mention departmental projections that last year suggested the country was likely to make a 42% cut by 2030, based on an assessment of existing and announced policies. The government said it showed the 43% target was within reach. Yeah, in fantasy land. In fantasy land where everybody buys EVs for the next 10 years. It's absolute madness. Climate diplomacy experts, I wonder who they are, said Dutton's position could break Australia's 2015 commitment to the Paris Agreement, under which nearly 200 countries said they would aim to limit global heating to well below, it's not warming anymore, it's heating, to well below 2 degrees C and attempt to limit to 1.5 degrees C above pre-industrial levels. The Paris deal agreed with the coalition was in power. Guardian grammar. Agreed when the coalition is in power. Says countries will progressively... Sorry, let me just stop there. The coalition was in power technically, but actually not, because Malcolm Turnbull was the Prime Minister at that time, and he's a frickin' lefty. He should never have been Prime Minister of Australia under a Liberal government, so forget that. Erwin Jackson, the policy director with the Investor Group on Climate Change and an observer at international climate negotiations since the 1990s, said the Paris Agreement was absolutely clear that countries could not backslide on emissions targets. Well, fuck you, basically. Let's have a look at the hysteria from the other side. The Climate Change and Energy Minister, that sharp as a tack Minister Chris Bowen, said Dutton's comments showed he wanted to rip up the 43% emissions targets. He said the opposition leader should say whether he had consulted the shadow cabinet and the coalition joint party room about... Oh, go away. The Paris Accord is very clear. You can't backslide. Well, actually, the Paris Accord is bullshit and we should pull out of it straight away. All I can say is bravo, Peter Dutton, for making this an election issue. The majority of people in Australia do not want net zero by 2050. They realise that it is impossible. The targets set by the Paris Agreement are completely unachievable. And yet everyone's just been going along with it as if it's going to happen. Well, it ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. Folks, let me tell you that right now. And finally, there is clear air between the Liberals and the other lot. Bravo. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.